In the far corner of the galaxy, near a cold and silent moon, something strange floated in space. It was big, dark, and still like a forgotten shadow. Most ships avoided that place. Some said it was a piece of old junk. Others said it was Earth's last warship, still drifting after the end of the human wars. No one really knew, and no one cared. Aliens from across the stars believed Earth was gone. Long ago, after years of battles and silence, the human world stopped answering. No messages, no movement, just emptiness. The galaxy moved on. Empires grew, councils met, and stories turned into jokes. One joke always returned. Earth's last ship still thinks it can fight. Many alien races believed humans had been brave, but not clever enough. Their technology was behind. Their leaders were proud. Their ships were strong, but not strong enough. And now, all that remained, if anything, was that old warship near the moon. On one calm day, a small alien scout ship passed near it. The pilot saw the dark shape and smiled. Still here. He laughed, opening a channel to take pictures and send them back home. He zoomed in and noticed something strange. No rust, no broken parts, and no signs of damage. The ship was silent, but it wasn't dead. He sent a scan. The ship didn't respond. He sent another. Still nothing. Then something odd happened. His ship's lights flickered. Controls froze. The camera feed turned black. He tried to move, to fly away, but his ship didn't listen. Then everything went dark. No signal, no message, just gone. At the same time, deep inside the old warship, a screen turned on. It showed a single word, ping detected. A second later, another screen lit up. Target lost. A man sat inside that ship. His face was tired, his uniform old but clean. He didn't smile, he didn't move. He just stared ahead at the screens, hands calm, eyes sharp. The room around him looked empty, almost forgotten. But hidden under the panels, deep inside the walls, something was waking up. The ship's voice whispered, "They're testing us again." The man didn't speak. He looked at a small photo taped to his screen. A picture of Earth. Green trees, blue sky, people smiling. "They forgot what we are," the AI said again, this time louder. The man finally spoke. "Let them come." Far away, in a bright alien city, news spread quickly. The scout ship was missing. A message was sent back before the signal ended. Only static and a strange sound like a pulse. Alien leaders laughed. "Perhaps the ship ate him," one said. "As a joke, he probably crashed into a rock." Another replied, but not all were laughing. A few remembered the story's old tales about that warship. It was said to be Earth's final answer. A ship not built for war, but for survival. Not controlled by orders, but by something deeper. Something that learned. No one truly believed it. To prove it, the alien empire decided to send more. Not scouts this time. Warships, cameras, reporters. They wanted to record the moment of final victory. One last dance. One last laugh. Back at the silent moon, the warship slowly turned. Just a little, just enough to face the stars. Inside, the lights came back one by one. Systems checked. Engines hummed. Hidden weapons waited behind smooth walls. The ships outside still looked quiet, but inside it was alive again. The man in the chair took a deep breath. He hadn't spoken to another human in years. Maybe they were all gone. Maybe he was the last. But it didn't matter. He had one job: wait. And now, the waiting was over. The AI whispered again, this time almost like a friend. "They are coming. Let them see." The man said, eyes on the stars. Somewhere, far across the galaxy, a fleet was moving. Hundreds of ships, big, bright, full of pride. They joked with each other, playing music, broadcasting to their homeworlds. Would erase this ghost ship and finally close Earth's chapter. But the ghost ship had a heartbeat, slow, deep, and ready, and it had not forgotten anything. Not the silence, not the fall, not the promise. The stars around it were quiet. Even the moon seemed to hold its breath. The last warship of Earth waited in the dark, still cold calm. But not for long. The alien fleet moved through space like a glowing river. Their ships were painted with sharp colors, shining under distant stars. Each vessel held a different flag, a different species, but they were all part of the same empire, the one that now ruled half the galaxy. For them, this journey wasn't war, it was celebration. Screens across alien worlds lit up with excitement. Children watched from schools, news anchors smiled, and soldiers stood proudly on stages as the event was broadcast live. They called it the final sweep. Their words were full of pride. The fleet was heading to finish a forgotten mission to clear the last human ship, still floating uselessly in space. "Let's give the galaxy a show," one alien commander said with a grin. "It'll take 5 minutes at most." Another replied. They laughed as they planned camera angles, opening messages, and speeches to declare Earth finally clean from history. Some even dressed in formal uniforms just for the cameras. They didn't expect a battle. They expected silence, but their confidence began to fade when they got close. One of the fleet's sensor officers looked up with confusion. "Sir, we can't scan the ship." "What do you mean?" the commander asked. "It's there, but the readings are wrong. It's showing 0 energy, but also something else, like it's hidden." Another voice spoke up. "Our cameras can't see inside. It's like the ship is covered by something we don't understand." Still, the commander shrugged it off. "It's an old trick. Human technology was clever once, but not anymore." They sent a probe ahead, a small drone with high-speed cameras and scanners. It flew toward the warship without fear. The feed was sent back live. The warship didn't move. The drone floated around it, capturing every angle. The ship looked quiet, just metal, no movement, no weapons, no light. Then, for just 1 second, the image glitched. Everyone watching leaned in. "What was that?" someone whispered. The screen returned to normal, but the drone stopped moving. The signal ended. Nothing came back. The fleet paused. No one spoke. Inside the command room of the lead ship, an alien technician looked down at her screen. That wasn't a malfunction. Something blocked the feed. Still, the commander laughed nervously. "It's just a machine. Let's move forward. This will be over soon." But tension was growing. Some ships began adjusting their shields. Others whispered privately to their home stations. In the crowd of ships, one quiet cruiser slowed down. Its captain was older than most, with deep eyes and a memory of things others forgot. He had fought during the last days of Earth's fall. He remembered the way humans looked when cornered. They didn't shout. They didn't panic. They prepared. He stared at the warship on his screen. "That ship isn't sleeping," he said softly. "It's listening." His crew looked at him with confusion. "What did you say, sir?" He didn't answer. He just watched. Back inside the warship, the human sat quietly. He had heard the signals, the alien music, the laughter, the words calling Earth weak and broken. But he didn't reply. He simply pressed a button, slow and gentle, like turning the page of an old book. Deep inside the ship, systems began to unlock. The AI's voice returned, monitoring fleet movement. Multiple scans attempted, activation level increasing. The human didn't blink. "Are we ready?" "We were always ready," the AI replied. The ship still looked the same from the outside, still dark, still still. But under the surface, energy flowed like a quiet river. Hidden panels adjusted. Interior lights turned from white to blue. Silent. Machines prepared systems that hadn't moved in years. In the fleet's lead ship, another alarm went off. "Sir, we have movement. Just a small shift in the warship's position. It's turning slightly." The commander stood up, unsure for the first time. Then the warship lit up, not with weapons, not with sound, but with purpose. A soft glow appeared along its side, like a heartbeat. It wasn't bright, it wasn't loud, but it was not dead. It was alive, and the fleet stopped laughing. The alien leaders stared in silence, some frozen in place. The music stopped. The shows stopped. Across thousands of alien screens, all that remained was a single image, a ship that was supposed to be forgotten. Now watching them, the warship sent no words, no threats, only a signal, a slow pulse, and then it waited, just like before. Inside the warship, the silence felt thick, like time itself had slowed down. Every wall hummed softly, as if the ship had started to breathe again after a long sleep. The lights above the control deck glowed a quiet blue. Screens came alive, one by one, showing data in simple lines and shapes. Nothing looked rushed. Nothing looked broken. Everything looked ready. The man sitting at the center of the ship still hadn't moved much. He watched as his control board lit up around him. Some of the buttons looked old, their labels faded, but they worked without a single delay. In front of him, a large round screen showed the alien fleet still waiting, still watching. Their lights blinked like stars, close but quiet, unsure of what to do. He leaned forward just a little and reached for a switch. As he turned it on, a new screen blinked open. It showed a file, locked, old, hidden for years. The AI's voice returned, calm and clear. Protocol Earthroute. Do you wish to proceed? He looked at the screen for a moment longer. He remembered when they built this ship not to fight, but to survive. Not for today, but for the day after everything else was lost. Yes, he said softly. It's time. The file opened, and with it, the ship began to change. Outside, nothing looked different, but inside hidden parts of the walls shifted quietly. Small lights ran across the floor, showing paths to rooms that had stayed closed for a long time. Somewhere deep in the ship, something warm began to glow. Not fire, not energy, something older. A system built by human hands, but touched by something not fully human. The AI spoke again. Unknown technology blend initializing. System language shifting to multi-layer mode. He smiled just a little. Let them wonder. The AI paused, then asked, would you like me to speak to them? He shook his head. No, not yet. Let them look. Back in the alien fleet, a soft wave of unease rolled through every command room. The glowing signal from the warship was still coming, pulsing at perfect intervals. Not fast, not loud, just steady, like a rhythm. One alien officer watched the pulse and said, it's counting what? Asked his captain. I don't know, the officer replied, but every second feels heavier. In another ship, a younger pilot whispered, it's just a machine, right? His co-pilot didn't answer. Some captains started to pull their ships back, a little not far, just enough to give space. Others refused to move, afraid of showing weakness. A few turned their cameras away, not wanting their home worlds to see the fear slowly entering their eyes. Back inside the human warship, the AI was busy unlocking systems no one had seen in years. Soft clicks echoed through the halls. Screens updated their display showing shapes and codes that even Earth scientists had once struggled to understand. Stabilizers online. The AI announced, layer shields at 82%, defensive mirror, core active. The man stood up now. His movements were slow, but sure. He walked across the deck, his boots quiet on the metal floor. He touched a console, and the entire room responded like the ship knew him. On a side wall, a small screen turned on, showing a message. They will test again. He tapped the screen and answered, let them. Just then, a faint echo moved through space so small it was almost invisible. A new probe from the alien fleet had just touched the outer edge of the warship's field, but this time, it wasn't lost. It wasn't blocked. It was returned. Changed. The fleet received it with confusion. They checked the probe's systems. The data was strange. Its memory was wiped, except for one new message left behind. We remember everything. That was it. Just those 4 words. And suddenly, across dozens of alien ships, tension returned like a cold wind. This ship isn't drifting, one officer said quietly. It's waiting. Another whispered, it's watching us. And in the silence that followed, some started to believe a story once told during the end of Earth's fall, a secret project, a final hope, a ship built not by command, but by promise, a ship that learned, a ship that listened, a ship that remembered what was taken. And now, it had awakened, but still, it did not move, it only waited, quiet, glowing, alive. And the stars around it, once bright, began to feel darker than before. A gentle vibration passed through the warship, like a breath slowly being held. The outside remained quiet, floating against the black curtain of space. But inside, everything was changing. The floor lights dimmed, then turned a deeper shade of blue. Thin lines of soft light moved along the walls, tracing paths no one had seen in years. The ship was awake, now fully, on the main screen. The alien fleet still hovered in formation, just beyond the warship's reach. Their lights blinked calmly, but inside their ships, officers were not calm. Messages were flying between vessels. Silent hand signals replaced laughter, and the smooth voices from earlier had now turned stiff and low. The human stood alone on the deck, watching the fleet with quiet eyes. He didn't move, didn't speak. His hands stayed behind his back as he listened to the soft sounds of the ship working around him. The AI spoke again, its voice clear, but softer than before. External scan complete. 43 ships. Scanners active. Target locks detected. He nodded once. As expected, the AI paused, then added, "They still believe you will not respond." A small smile touched the corner of his lips. That's the part they never understood. And then, for the first time in years, the ship moved. It wasn't fast. It wasn't loud. It was a simple adjustment, like a dancer taking the first step before the music starts. The nose of the ship turned slightly toward the center of the alien fleet. Just a few degrees, but it was enough. Inside the lead alien cruiser, alarms lit up instantly. Movement. The human ship has adjusted course. Is it coming toward us? No, it's not charging. It's aligning with something. The fleet began to stir. Some ships pulled back. Others raised their shields. Many captains started speaking at once, voices overlapping. But still no attack. No sound. Only that slow, careful turn. Then on every alien screen, something new appeared. A symbol dot. It looked simple. Just a circle with lines through it. Glowing white, but it was more than that. It was an old human signal. A sign from the first days of Earth's space travel. It hadn't been used in over 100 years. A few older alien commanders recognized it. It means, "Stand clear," one of them whispered. Back inside the warship, the human tapped a control softly. The ship's outer surface began to shift, not quickly, not violently. The plates moved like pieces of a puzzle, unlocking and sliding away with a quiet hum. Underneath, a layer of smooth black material appeared. No windows, no visible weapons, just dark, polished armor that reflected the stars. From a distance, the ship looked like it was changing shape. It had just removed a mask, and now the galaxy was seeing its true face. In the alien fleet, panic spread faster than orders. Crews scrambled to understand what they were seeing. One young pilot said aloud what many were thinking. "This doesn't look like human design." He was right. The warship didn't look like any human ship known to the galaxy. The surface was too clean, too fluid, as if it had grown into shape. Rather than being built piece by piece, lights flowed across it in patterns the alien computers couldn't decode. It looked both ancient and advanced, silent, beautiful, and unknown. Then the ship spoke, not with words but with light. A soft beam extended from the front of the ship, touching empty space. It didn't burn. It didn't shake. It was a line drawn gently across the sky. The message was clear. This is the boundary. And still, the warship did not fire. But one alien cruiser didn't understand, or maybe refused to believe. Its commander stepped forward and gave a quiet signal. The cruiser inched forward, crossing the line of light. Inside the warship, the AI spoke gently. Boundary crossed. The human nodded. Response: no action required. Let them feel it. A second later, the alien cruiser shivered. Its lights blinked. Its engines slowed. But nothing touched it. Nothing hit it. Yet every system on board began to reset. Their screens turned blank. Their navigation spun in circles. And their communication with the fleet disappeared completely. It was as if the ship had walked into a quiet cloud and forgotten where it was. The fleet froze. All eyes turned toward the silent warship. No beams had fired. No shields had broken. But the message was now louder than ever. Do not test again. Inside the human ship, the man returned to his seat. The AI whispered again. They're listening now. He looked up at the stars. They should have listened sooner. And the warship stayed still, once more quiet, calm, unshaken. It didn't celebrate. It didn't threaten. It only waited. And across the stars, for the first time in many years, the galaxy began to wonder. What had Earth really become? A quiet stillness took hold across the alien fleet. No one dared to speak too loudly. Even though no physical damage had occurred, the single warship's silent message had shaken something deep inside every captain and crew member watching. They were no longer laughing. They were calculating. Inside the lead ship, a council of alien commanders gathered on a private channel. Faces of different species filled the screen, scaled, furred, metallic, and smooth-skinned. Their expressions were no longer playful. What they saw now didn't fit any known pattern. They had expected rusted steel and dying engines. Instead, they found something that felt like it didn't belong to their era, or even to their understanding. "This vessel isn't responding like human ships," one said with a cold tone. "It didn't attack," added another, "but it stopped. One of our cruisers without lifting a finger." One voice broke through the whispers, louder than the others. Perhaps this is no longer human technology. That idea unsettled them all. Back in the human warship, the air was calm. The ship's systems pulsed like a slow heartbeat. Lights moved gently along the walls. There was no sound of struggle, no alarms, only the soft hum of purpose. The man walked through a narrow hallway, lined with panels and soft lights. Every door he passed responded to him, opening slightly, like it remembered his footsteps. This ship was more than metal, and programming it felt like memory itself had taken shape and was guiding his every move. He stopped at a panel and placed his hand on a smooth surface. The AI's voice returned. "Would you like full access granted?" "Yes," he replied. The wall split open slowly, revealing a chamber unlike the others. Inside there was no machinery, no weapons, just a circle of floating objects, smooth, metallic stones pulsing with light. Each one hovered in silence, as if waiting for a question. These were not made by Earth, they were found. Before the fall of Earth's cities, a message had reached them from deep space, and with it came these devices, quiet, strange, unreadable. While governments argued, this ship was built in secret. Some of Earth's best minds came together, not to fight, but to prepare, to mix Earth's strongest designs with unknown elements. This warship was the result, a blend of human will and something older. Back in space, the alien fleet began to shift. One section of ships, far to the left, started to move without orders. Their commander had decided to act. He believed the others were being too careful, too afraid. "We didn't come here to be watched," he said to his crew. "We came to finish a job." He ordered 5 ships forward, quietly, slowly. Their engines glowed softly as they slipped out of formation, moving along the edges, hoping to avoid triggering a response. Inside the human ship, the AI noticed the shift instantly. 5 ships on approach. Their movements are controlled. Their intent is unclear. The man did not react with fear. Instead, he returned to the main deck and sat down again. He looked at the screen in front of him, then tapped a few keys gently. He wasn't preparing to fight. He was preparing to speak. The warship had remained silent this whole time. No messages, no responses, just quiet action. But now, the AI spoke aloud across all frequencies in the fleet. The voice was calm, without emotion. "You were told, you were warned, but if you continue forward, then you must understand one thing." The message paused, as if giving them one last moment to change their mind. The voice continued, "This ship is not your enemy, but it is your answer." The message ended. Back in the alien fleet, confusion returned. Some captains began arguing. Others called for full retreat. The 5 ships still moving forward paused for only a moment, but then continued. Inside the human ship, the AI gave a final scan. "They are not stopping." The man gave a quiet nod, then let them see. He didn't press any buttons. He didn't issue commands. Instead, the ship acted on its own. He began to glow it brightly, not sharply, but like a sunrise behind thick clouds. The 5 approaching ships saw the glow, slowed, and scanned. Their systems tried to read the changes. None of them understood what was happening. Then their engines faded. Not shut down, just faded, like a memory being slowly erased. Their lights flickered. Their screens dimmed. But the ships weren't harmed. They were untouched, but completely still. The AI announced, gently, "They have been paused. All systems neutral. No contact. No harm." The 5 ships now floated silently, drifting peacefully, as if asleep. And again, the warship said nothing. No threats, no blame, only stillness. This time, the message was clear across every ship watching. This wasn't a battle. It wasn't a trap. It was a decision. And now, the galaxy had to choose how it would respond. Across the galaxy, people were still watching. Millions of eyes stared at screens, waiting for the warship to make its next move. Broadcasters had gone quiet. Experts had stopped guessing. The mood had shifted. What began as entertainment was now something else, something unknown, quiet, and strangely heavy. In the alien capital, officials met in secret rooms. Their voices were low, their faces tight. Some wanted to continue the mission, to prove their control. Others whispered what no one dared to say aloud. "Maybe this ship is more than it seems," one official asked. "If this isn't war, then what is it?" No one answered. Out near the cold moon, the warship remained exactly where it had been, not closer, not farther, just there like a mountain in the dark. The 5 alien ships that had approached were still drifting. Systems, quiet, untouched, and unharmed. A few shuttles tried to reach them, but every time they crossed the invisible boundary, they lost power for just a moment and had to turn back. Inside the human ship, everything was still running smoothly. The AI softly reported changes, but none were dangerous. All systems were calm. Fleet movement reduced. The AI said, "Communication between alien vessels has slowed. Signal traffic shows hesitation." The man sat quietly, eyes fixed on the main screen. He was no longer tense. He didn't seem tired. He just seemed settled, as if everything was happening the way it always had to. The ship's core systems continued their slow, perfect rhythm. Lights moved through long, hidden corridors. Drones hovered through unused rooms, checking pipes, circuits, walls. It wasn't repair, it was memory. The ship was remembering itself. In a smaller room behind the main deck, another system unlocked. A small door slid open without a sound. Inside, a single object floated within a beam of soft light. It looked like a sphere, smooth and dark, with patterns running across it like tiny rivers. The human stepped into the room and looked at the sphere. He didn't touch it. He just stood there. Core artifact remained stable. The AI said, "Would you like to initiate message scan?" He shook his head. "Not yet. Let the galaxy ask first." He turned and walked back to his chair. Back in the alien fleet, something new began to happen. Ships from outside systems started to arrive, not from the Empire's command, but from neighboring territories. Observers, travelers, quiet watchers. They had heard the stories, seen the broadcasts, and wanted to see for themselves. More ships arrived every hour. Some hovered at the edges of the fleet, others circled quietly from afar. They didn't speak, they didn't interfere, they just watched. One of them sent a message to the warship. It was short, "What are you?" The warship didn't respond inside. The man simply closed his eyes for a moment. He wasn't hiding anything. He just knew that answers had to be earned, not given quickly. The AI watched the incoming messages. More of them now, one by one. Is this ship a warning? Did Earth survive? Are we looking at human future or human past? Still, no reply. The ship wasn't silent to be cold. It was silent because it was still deciding. It wasn't here to punish or scare. It was here because Earth had once trusted something greater than fear, something called patience. Then, after a long pause, the ship sent out a signal. Just one dot. It wasn't loud, it wasn't long, but it traveled far. A soft wave of data, filled with images, not of weapons, not of battle, but of memories. Photos of cities filled with life, children running under trees, old scientists in quiet labs, blue skies, open water, music, writing, laughter, all the things Earth once was, all the things it wanted to be. The alien fleets received the images. They didn't know what to say. One alien commander stared at the photo of a forest and whispered, "They were not only fighters, they were dreamers." And slowly, fear began to fade. In its place came a question, one that no sensor could answer. If Earth made this ship to survive, what were they truly trying to protect? Inside the human warship, the man looked at the last image, sent a picture of Earth as seen from space, glowing blue and white. He nodded to himself. They needed to see more than strength, he said. They needed to see what we remembered. And across the stars, the warship waited once again. Still not a threat, still not a weapon, still a message.